Hey, how's it going, everyone? So back here to discuss, I guess, the journey that I'm on right now after, I think I had explained on the last couple of videos, going through a breakup and learning how to get through it, I guess, in a positive manner, as positive as possible. Um, so I went through a breakup recently, 6 years of a relationship, and I'm 2 months out of that. I noticed that a lot of my friends that I have on social media, they've been through their own share of breakups, and the thing that I always see as commonality between these is that obviously breakups are hard and they're painful. They're painful as heck. It doesn't matter how long of a relationship it was. I mean, obviously, the longer that you have been in a relationship with someone for, the harder it's gonna feel like it needs to get through it. Like it's gonna feel like you need to feel that pain and get through it and things like that. So, my thought in sharing these videos is that I'm compared to my very first breakup, which every time that I've gone through a breakup, it's never been my decision. And I guess looking back at it now, that's because I've always been afraid to pull the plug on a relationship. Um, Not that I'm saying that I'm glad it happened. I mean, it still hurts, but my point is that the commonality in all of this is that you have a choice after a breakup, and especially if someone breaks up with you, you have a choice to either hold on to that pain and just wallow in it and feel like it's the end of the world, which it really does feel like that. I'm not dismissing anyone's feelings on the pain and the hurt that it does cause ultimately. Um, but if I look back at my own personal experience with this, is that my very first breakup was after a 10-year relationship where I was actually married to my ex. Um, but it was a very, very toxic relationship, and she ended it. And at that time, I I I thought that my world was ending. I mean, you feel like that. I mean, no doubt about it. And we had built up 10 years of memories, 10 years of us living together, us having a condo together, a car together, a future that I saw and I envisioned with her. And then she decided to pull the plug, and I was devastated. I begged, I pleaded, I hoped, I prayed. I thought this is my soulmate, and there's no way in hell I'm ever going to find anyone else. There's no way in hell that I'm ever going to be able to make it out of this. Um, and like I said, a lot of my friends that I have on social media, they've gone through breakups, and it's been like a year, even sometimes longer, that they're still posting, different photos or different videos about how heartbroken they still are. Now, with this last breakup that I've gone through, with which once again my ex decided that she just wanted to be single and she needed her time, her space. She said she still wanted to be with me, but she just didn't know when. Um, that right there is a killer. I don't dismiss that if anyone else is going through a breakup and their ex is telling them, like, I still want to be with you, but I just need space. Like, fine, give them their space. But if there's one thing I can say out of that, don't hold on to hope that they're going to come back to you. Um, I'm 2 months out of that relationship now after this breakup. I held on to hope for a very long time. She said she wanted to be single, and I thought that in the end that we would both work on ourselves. We had a lot of healing that we both needed to do. Ultimately, though, I can say more recently that I found out that she's looking into dating someone else. Now, that stung. That stung like it stung really bad. But I took it as a blessing, and I can say with all of my being right now that yeah, it stung like hell, but it helped me to see that I don't need to hold on to hope that we'll be together one day. Um, it's actually a good thing that I found out that she's going to start dating someone, because now I don't have to worry about holding on to that hope. I don't have to worry about thinking that there's a possibility of us being together in the future. And if that's one thing that I want to start off by saying, is that if you're going through a breakup, and you're holding on to that outcome that you may end up with your ex again, it's going to sting really bad if you're holding on to that. The one thing I can say about all of this, like, self-help that I've been going through, all of this healing I've been trying to go through, if you hold on to that outcome, it is going to make it so much harder for you to start that process of healing your mind, your body, your spirit, your mentality, your heart, everything. It's going to make it slow the process for you. And I'm not an expert. I'm just going based off of what I'm personally going through right now. And that would be that I was holding on to hope that I could still envision that future that I had with her. And after finding out that she's decided to move on, it kind of gave me more clarity that I wasn't her choice. Now, I'm not knocking her. Again, I've said it on my other video. I have nothing but respect for her. She's an amazing woman. I will always have love for her. But now I have to learn how to not be in love with her. And when I say now I have to learn, it's because I can tell you, like, I'm not moved on yet. I was the one that was broken up with. When you're the one that is the, as they've said in tons of articles that I've read, when you're the dumpee, you're kind of blindsided. I mean, you kind of have a feeling this is coming, and I can say personally, like, from the videos that I've watched, they tell you, like, you were kind of walking on eggshells thinking that it was going to be coming eventually, but you just don't know when. You don't know how. So you're constantly living with that, like, possibility. And I can say, like, I didn't think that at the time, but looking back now, I remember having a ton of different, like, deja vu moments, or even, like, dreams that I was getting broken up with, and I thought we were in a good place at that time. So my point to this is just learn how to let go, because if you can't do that, you're going to hold on to the outcome, you're going to hold on to the hope, and it's going to mess with your mind, it's going to mess with your heart, it's going to mess with every bit of your being from being able to move on and heal. So that kind of brings me to the next part. My very first breakup, I was a mess. I drank until I blacked out as many times as I could. I didn't want to feel anything. I didn't want to know that it was the end of something that I thought was my soulmate. That relationship I thought was going to be my entire life. And even though it was a toxic relationship, I held on to it. I held on to it like hell. And after that, I started dating right afterwards. And I can say that this was, my ex was like, you know what, you need to get over me, so get out there and start dating. She even helped me with setting up my Tinder account. And I allowed that because I was trying to show her that, you know what, if you ask me to do this, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it because you want me to. And I'm going to do it in hopes that you see that I'm listening to you, so that you'll come back to me and see that's giving, people pleasing, which is one of the other aspects that I'm working on right now, codependency and abandonment issues, is that I listened to her so that I could get over her, when in reality I wasn't trying to do that. I was trying to please her so that she would come back to me. So long story short on that one is that I listened and I started dating like a month after that breakup. So I went from a 10-year relationship into dating right away. And mind you, I was 19 years old to 29 years old for that relationship. So my entire adult life, my entire adulthood, I've never actually been single. I've always been in a relationship basically trying to please people. So I went from that relationship, and then I had a couple of brief little relationships in between, which brought me to the next one, which was with my more recent ex that we were together for 6 years. I wasn't ready for that relationship. I did not allow myself to heal. I did not allow myself to grow. I did not allow myself to get over past childhood traumas that I had gone through. Instead, I used my ex, and I don't mean used like in a sense, because I wasn't looking to use her. I just thought that I've got to continue, and I've got to find someone to love me as much as I loved my my very first ex. I need to find somebody so that I can forget about that very first ex. And so that's where I want to say that if you're going through a breakup right now and you're looking to start dating right away, and you know that there are things that you need to work on yourself for, right now is the most important time for you to build a foundation for yourself, so that you don't keep repeating this pattern of, okay, I'm going to get with somebody and they're going to fulfill me. It doesn't work that way. I'm sorry to say it. It does not work that way. And granted, I'm not an expert. I just have been putting the work in. I've read article after article. I have watched YouTube video after YouTube video. I've started going to therapy. I've started going to church. And I'm not saying you need to be spiritual, but it helps you put your mind into a better place when you know that there is something higher that you can look to help you get through this. And don't get me wrong, I've had plenty of times where I'm like, religion, like, what are you talking about? Like, I lost my mom 4 years ago. I hate God. And I'm not saying that it's what I believe. I just was angry in my heart. And so I never allowed that spirituality side of like anything to get into me. So I don't know. I'm just trying to share my journey right now. I want anybody out there that needs to hear this to know that I feel your pain. Like, I know it's not easy. You need to allow yourself to feel things. I mean, when I found out that my ex is thinking about dating and she's talking to someone, and she even openly admitted to me, like, yeah, we're talking about starting to date. I wanted to be so angry. I wanted to be mad. I wanted to yell at her. I wanted to go off. I wanted to be like, wait a minute. You said you wanted to be single. You swore up and down you wanted to be single and to be independent and to not rely on someone else and to not have someone else's opinion or thoughts be something that you need to take into consideration. But because I've done this work so far, every single day, I'm telling you guys, like, it is so important to become a person that can rely on only yourself. And I'm not saying like rely only on yourself in a sense that you shouldn't have a circle of people that are helping you get through this time, because that is another piece that I've learned, is that having a circle of family and friends that have nothing to do with your ex, and I can say this, nothing to do with your ex, because I did talk to her mom a lot of the times because we had a good relationship. But at the end of the day, I can't be part of her world anymore. So I had to remove myself from relying on having her family as my circle, because they're not my circle. They're her circle. As much as I have love for them, it doesn't matter because they're not my circle. So I had to find that circle of my family, my friends that I could rely on to discuss what I was going through, to discuss my thoughts and feelings. And that's another thing. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to choose the right circle, because if you choose a circle of people, or even like make it a large circle of people that you're going out and telling and discussing what's going on and what's hurting you and what's making things really difficult for you to move on, it can become a disaster, because you could have a lot of people giving you their thoughts and opinions to the point where it confuses what you already have going on in your head, constantly thinking about. And for me, the big thing was that I was constantly thinking about, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? How did we get to this point? We weren't horrible together. We weren't toxic like my first relationship. I thought I was doing everything wrong. But there are things that I had to work on that I realize now. Codependency is a big one. I mean, I gave her space. I was like, hey babe, you want to go out and you want to hang out with friends, go for it. But I didn't create my own way of living when we were together. Like, I liked to stay home. I was a homebody. But that was I don't want to say a red flag to her, but that was kind of another deciding factor that, like, look, I want to be able to, like, for her, she was like, I want to be able to go out, but I feel guilty because you don't go out. And I'm not saying like, oh man, I needed to go out and hang out with the guys more often. No, that's not who I am. But that's exactly how you realize that someone's not for you. Because if you want to be a homebody and your significant other wants to be able to go out, but they feel guilty and they can't communicate that to you, you're lacking communication in your relationship, number one. Number two, you're not on the same page no matter how great the relationship seems. And that's not the right foundation to build when you're in a relationship. So I feel like I'm kind of all over the place here. I have a lot of thoughts that, are constantly going through my head. But the one thing I have to say that's really helped me to move forward is that I'm creating a new routine. I have this circle of family and friends that I rely on to discuss my thoughts when I'm feeling like I'm in pain. I let myself cry. I listen to a lot of worship music. I listen to a lot of YouTube videos. I've mentioned a few of the people that I follow now, I've subscribed to, and that's exactly why I decided to start sharing my journey, because at the end of the day, I'm trans. I'm female to male trans, and I feel like this is gonna be one of the biggest uphill battles of my life, because not only am I going through a breakup, but I'm also going through changes still with my transition, number one. Number two, I'm trying to change my entire mentality and outlook on life. I'm trying to change that childhood trauma that I went through. I'm trying to change my spirituality. It's like there's a gazillion changes that you just feel like your body can't handle it. But you have a choice. You can, and as Zig Ziglar said, and I love this quote, fear has two meanings, two ways of looking at it, I guess. You can either forget everything and run, or you can face everything and rise. I don't want to forget this. I don't want to forget this pain that I'm feeling. I'm not saying I want to feel pain every single day, but I want to be able to look back at this in the next year or two and be like, wow, like I want future me to be proud of what I am doing right now. And that is that I'm putting in the work to make myself a better person, so that when I have the opportunity to have someone else in my life, another significant other, as a choice when I'm finally looking for love, which I'm not doing right now, I'm not doing at all. But I want to have that work that I put in so that future me can say, hey, Jess, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for putting in the work to heal, to build the right foundation, to be able to see that when you have that significant other that comes in your life, and when it's meant to be, it's meant to be, you have the right foundation, that you're not working on yourself anymore. You don't need somebody else to fulfill you, because you've already fulfilled yourself. That's what I want. And so I just think it's important, especially in the trans community. We always, I've got a ton of Facebook groups that I'm part of where, we talk about fitness, we talk about sexuality, dating, and we talk about the transition process as a whole. But I don't think it's ever discussed what it's like to have to go through a breakup, and what it's like to have to continue life and heal yourself from things that you have gone through. And there's that added layer when we're transitioning too, is that we have a fear that when you go through a breakup, what the hell am I going to do when I go out there and I start deciding that, you know what, I do want to start dating? I mean, I had this conversation with my aunt and uncle yesterday at dinner, because they've been a couple of the biggest supporters in my life right now. I mean, I'm living with them right now. I kind of feel like I'm in rehab at times, but it's a good thing, because it's helping me create that foundation, that routine. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I listen to my prayer that I found. I've shared it with a couple of my buddies that are going through a breakup, and it's helping them, and I love that, and I want to be able to help others. So I wake up in the morning, I have my prayer, I make my bed, I listen to music, uplifting music when I'm making my bed. I get ready for work. And this is only a couple of weeks that I've been doing this out of the 2 months of the breakup. Before that, I can tell you, I would log on to work and I would just stare at the computer screen. And I was already on an action plan. I had a lot going on. And when I say action plan, I mean like for work, when you're not performing correctly, you get put on an action plan. I was put on that. I literally signed my action plan the day after my ex broke up with me. And it felt like my world was getting ripped from me completely, But then now that I'm at the point where I am, where again, therapy and putting in the work of self-help and self-improvement and literally trying to manifest that I'm going to be okay through all of this, I'm realizing that I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it through this. It's just a matter of continuing on and making that choice to face everything and rise. So I don't know how much I have to share with everyone. I mean, I don't even know if anyone's going to watch this stuff, but I want you to know that you're not alone when it comes to going through this breakup. I mean, there's a ton of content out there that you can use for self-improvement. There's a ton of content out there for healing. But for me, it's going to be a journey, and I know that. But I also see it as a blessing because, like I mentioned before, I've been in relationships for most of my adulthood, my adult life. I've never been single to know what my worth is on my own. I've never been single to know what I like and don't like, what I want in the future, instead of settling with somebody. And not that I feel like I settled with my exes, because I really did in my heart. I really did think the first time around was my soulmate. And then when I finally let her go, the second time around, okay, maybe I don't use the word soulmate so loosely, but she was my person. We both said it. Hey, you're my person. I see my future with you. She had kids. I saw myself being a grandparent one day. But I have to let that go, because now I'm trying to use that relationship as my way of my worth. And from all this video content and, that I've watched and articles I've read, like, I'm just going to keep continuing to repeat the pattern of going into a relationship, finding my worth in that relationship, and then having my heart broken, and then the cycle repeats itself again and again and again. Do I really want to do that for the rest of my life? Do I really want to be in and out of relationships that are for decade-long spans just to end it? No. Heck no. I want to heal myself. I want to build a foundation. So, anybody who is going through a breakup right now and they are just looking for the right game plan to try to help them start healing, I want you to know it is doable, but you have to make that choice to do it. You have to make that choice to do it. The other day I found out about my ex moving on, like I said, and she's going to start dating. I wanted to stop. I wanted to just come home. I wanted to go to sleep and forget I even found that information out. Instead, I came home. I cleaned up my room like I was planning on doing. I mean, it wasn't a mess anyways. It was just doing laundry. And then I went for a run, and then I came home, and I was like, all right, I'm going to be okay. Thought I was going to be fine. Very next day came along. I worked, and I focused as much as I could. And then the end of the day came, and I just needed to cry. And I did cry. I went outside. And I let myself cry, a good amount of crying. And then I listened to some positive affirmations that I found on YouTube, and I repeated every one of them. I repeated it a couple times, and then I put on some good content that I found from this one guy that is a pastor that just really hit the nail on the head about being able to move on from an ex. There's stuff out there. It's just a matter of you doing the research and finding it. And I'm more than happy to help anybody that wants, the information. I can share playlists that I've built up and music that I've downloaded. And as far as looking into therapy, there's stuff out there. It's just a matter of doing the work. It's going to be hard and it's going to hurt like hell. But future you is going to thank you for it. And I can tell you that because finding out that news about her moving on, I can tell you if I had found that out 3 weeks ago when I was not in the place in the mental space that I'm in now, I probably would have lost it, and I probably would have done something really stupid like drink. I don't drink anymore, but I probably would have done that and blacked out and got angry and called her and went off, or just something dumb, I'm telling you right now. But because I'm in the mental space that I'm in right now, where I'm trying to heal and think of me and let go, I took it as, all right, this is a blessing. Now that little bit of hope that I was holding on to, that we were going to be together one day, I let that go. There is no outcome of me and her ever again. Now, am I saying like, oh, like never? Because you can't say never. I mean, I don't know if our paths will cross in the future, and maybe we're both at a place where we want to be together. I'm not hoping for that anymore. I just know that if and when I am with somebody, I want my foundation built to a point where I cannot be hurt if someone decides to let me go again. And I'm not saying it's not going to hurt. Of course it's going to hurt. Every time you get broken up with, it hurts. Every time you decide to break up with someone, it's going to hurt. But maybe, just maybe, getting through this and healing properly and letting the person go and letting the outcome go, maybe that will just be one more step towards me being able to be at peace by myself and find my own worth. So I hope this video helps anybody that's, going through a breakup right now. Maybe you're at the beginning of your journey, and I say journey because it's not a horrible thing when you need to find yourself. Like, it's not a horrible thing when you need to heal. It's a blessing. It really is. God has a plan for every one of us. We just need to trust that plan. And if you aren't spiritual, then the universe has a plan for you. And the universe has a plan for everyone. But are you going to be questioning God, or are you going to be questioning the universe? You're going to want to. Heck yeah. You're going to be like, what the heck, man? I was good here. I was good in this relationship. But it doesn't work that way, because I can tell you right now, I needed to heal. I was an angry, resentful person. I was a good person. I was a good guy. I went above and beyond, but I gave conditional love. I didn't give unconditional love. And that's because I wasn't healed yet. That's because I wasn't ready to give somebody my unconditional love where they weren't reciprocating it. So if you're going through a breakup right now, whether it's been a couple months or it's been a year or it's fresh in a couple of days, I promise you, if you make that choice to choose you and to make yourself a priority, things will get better. You will have that foundation where you're not continuing to repeat this process and this pattern and this cycle of getting into a relationship and not being ready for it because you don't have that foundation. So I'm going to end it at that. I'll try to think of a better way to not be so scatterbrained on my next video, but I hope that you have a good day if you're watching this, and I hope that it's given you some clarity that it's okay to hurt and to feel the pain, but don't hold on to it. It's not going to be good if you hold on to it. Just let yourself feel it and let yourself move on from it. So I hope you have a good day. Stay golden, stay blessed. You got this. And subscribe, please, if you can, if you want to. If this helps, if this is not your cup of tea, that's cool. You don't have to. But yeah, no, you got this. And I believe in you because I had to believe in myself. And I'm telling you right now, it was a very hard thing to do, but it can be done. I promise. Take care, people.